Hi everyone, my name is Frank from Loop Connection, and in this video I'm going to show you some basic tips on how to use Ableton as a live looper. A little disclaimer is that if you play live instruments and you need to loop signals coming from your microphone or the jack of your guitar or bass, YouTube is already full of videos on how to use the live looper pedal inside Ableton, which is the best plugin to do live looping with incoming audio signals. Instead, Ableton is already a great way to do live looping if you play virtual instruments or instrument tracks inside Ableton. Indeed, the magic happens inside the session view. Everybody thinks about the session view as an instrument for DJs. They put the clips in there, they launch them, they stop them, they do some fancy effects. When you are in the session view and every channel is filled with your virtual instruments, Ableton is able to record, overdub, stop and play your virtual instruments as you wish. Let me show you a very easy example. I have two tracks here. Track 1 is Addicted Drums, which is my favorite plugin for drums, indeed. Okay, and track 2 is a drum rack of mine, which I use for playing percussions. There is some claps, there are some triangles and congas. Now, let me put the click on and press play. Now, the click is play, you cannot hear it because it's in my monitoring, but you can see that I have harmed track 1, and now empty clips here are ready to record MIDI. I just have to press the button and to record. And that's it. I got my kick. That's 4 on the floor here, guys. And the moment I press again the button, when it's recording, it will stop recording and immediately start playing any MIDI signals I have recorded. And as you can see, the length of this clip is based on when I press the button. So now I have created a 1 bar loop, but I could create a 2 bar, 8 bars, 6 bars, and you want loops. Now, the point is Ableton is able to overdub MIDI. I just have to press the record session button. Okay, if I press it on an armored track, it's gonna automatically go on overdubbing, and because I'm not playing anything, it's not recording anything. But I can put some snare on it. See? And the moment he reached the end of the clip, he started again from here. Because the starting clip was 1 bar long. Now I press again, and I got my 4 on the floor with some kick and snare. Or maybe I wanna add some hi-hats. I press again the record session. Okay, now I have my clip, which is not really tight, but I can select all of them, Ctrl A, and press Ctrl U. So, now it's quantized. Now, let's say I want to add some percussion that, for example, a clap. I'm gonna arm the second track, click record, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have claps. And as long as I don't press record session, I can play on it without recording, for example. And that's it. Now, let's say I wanna just stop the drums. I press the stop button, and all other clips will keep on playing. And let's say I wanna stop them all. You press stop all button. Or you can also play all of them in the same row by pressing this button here, which plays the first scene, which is the first row. And that's it. This is the basics. So, as you can see, I can record MIDI clips. The length is based on how long I recorded the first clip in that channel. I can overdub the MIDI clip, I can stop it, I can replay it, and everything is done inside of the session view. I already told you. As I told you before, this method is great for looping MIDI clips. If you try to do the same with audio clips, for example, if you record my microphone and want to do overdub, Ableton doesn't do that, doesn't let you overdub audio, because it's not designed for do that. If you want to overdub audio, you have to use the Ableton Looper plugin and put it inside your audio tracks. There is a way to use both the Ableton session for live looping MIDI and the live looper on an audio track at the same time. But this tutorial is not about that. This tutorial is for live looping MIDI tracks. There are two great features, advantages of live looping MIDI inside Ableton. First of all, if you record a clip which is not really in time, you can decide to quantize the notes. For example, you can double click inside a MIDI clip you have recorded. If you see that you're not really tight, you can select all the notes by using Ctrl A and then quantize to a value you decide by using Ctrl U. For example, I've told Ableton to quantize them to the closest 8th note, so that now my claps are all on time. Let me show you. Yeah, much better. Another great feature is that you can tell Ableton to execute your commands at a precise time instead of when you press the button. This is called global quantization. For example, I have told Ableton to execute my commands at the end of the bar, so that every time I have to play a new clip, I can press the play button before the end of the bar. Or I can press the record button before the end of the bar to start recording as soon as I get a new bar. And this applies to everything except overdub. Overdub starts and ends exactly when you press the session record button. Now, in theory, you could decide to do all this process by using the mouse. You can move the mouse to press record button, to change the tracks, to stop all the clips, to play all the clips together. It's slow, it's clunky, and yeah, it's not really advised. So, if you really intend to use Ableton as a live looper, I suggest you buy two pieces of equipment. The first one is a simple USB pedal made in China, which is programmed to press a specific button of your keyboard, of the keyboard of your computer. This marvelous piece of equipment costs around 50 bucks. You can buy it on eBay or on Amazon, and the moment you receive it, you can set it to press any button of your keyboard. For example, my pedal came already programmed to press B button, and I have never changed it because I didn't have to, but you can change it. You can program it to press, for example, the C, V, N, M, any button or combinations of buttons on your keyboard. Now, if you buy that pedal, the first thing I want you to do is go inside the key binding window and map that button to the session record button. This makes your life so easier because now you can start recording and overdubbing MIDIs without physically having to move the mouse on the clip. I'm gonna show you, for example, let's start again these clips. Okay, I have my pedal below the table, and every time I press that pedal, you press the B button, which is linked to the session record button. So, let me start a new clip. 1, 2, 3, pedal. And that's my clip. Okay, maybe the kick is not very good. Let me try again. 2, 3, 4. And that's it. Let me overdub snares. So I press the button, and you can see he's already on overdub because I have selected track 1 and there is a track already playing on there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I press again the pedal and it stops overdubbing. Now, for example, I can move to another instrument, which is my synths, and I can play them by using the pedal for recording. 1, 2, 3, 4. And press the pedal, and that's it. You see that? And the best thing you can do is that now you can record without using the hands, so I can play my ear. So, in that way, you can limit how much you have to use the mouse inside Ableton, because most of the action now happens below your table. I'm gonna show you my pedal later on in this tutorial because it's more complex, but it's based on the same Chinese technology of the US pedal I bought the first time. And I still have that pedal because you never know what you can bind to that pedal. For example, you can bind any other function of Ableton, but I'm gonna show you later on. Now that you have got your USB pedal and you have linked it to the session record button, you may decide to spend some time inside the session view in order to experiment and find out how things work and what kind of instruments you want to use. But sooner or later, you will feel the need to be more agile in doing all the operation. And that's the moment I suggest you to buy a control surface for Ableton. I'm not telling you to buy the Ableton Push, because the Ableton Push is pricey as hell, it's an overkill for what we are trying to achieve here. But there are some control surfaces produced by Akai which are really handy for us. The first one is the APC Key 25 and the second one is the APC Mini. They are exactly the same device, except APC Key 25 has also a MIDI keyboard, mini MIDI keyboard below the control surface. The control surface is an arrangement of buttons which replicate the session view inside Ableton. With those buttons, you can play, record, overdub, stop all, or play all the clips in a row. Essentially, this makes your life really easier because now, with that control, you don't have to use the mouse to move across the session view. And it's also kind of cheap because both APC Key 25 and APC Mini cost 50 or 60 bucks, depends on where you buy them. I will suggest to go for the APC Key 25 instead of the APC Mini because he has the MIDI keyboard. And this mini MIDI keyboard is really handy if you travel a lot or if you just need a second controller for example, bass lines, because it's really small and you can press all the keys really easy. And then, hey, it's a free MIDI keyboard for the same price. Also, on the right side, there are some knobs you can link to any parameter inside Ableton, also inside your virtual instruments, for example, for controlling cutoff or the volume or switching on off some effects. Later on in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I have linked my knobs inside my setup. Now that you have your control surface, let me show you how to bring your loop game to the next level. The amount of time you spend using your mouse is really minimal now. Everything is under control of your feet or of your fingers. I press play with a click on, and I can use the button below the rack to select the track I want to harm. Okay, I'm harming, for example, track 2. And now I have an empty row of clips here. If I press a button from gray, it will become red, telling me that it's recording MIDI. If I press again, it stops recording and it starts playing, and the button turns green. For example, let me try again with the percussions. See, I press the button to record, and I press my pedal to stop recording, and now it's playing. Now if I press any other button in this row, it's gonna start recording a new clip on another slot. For example, slot 2. See? And now my previous clip on the control surface has become yellow, which means it's on standby and ready to be played. If I press it, I can switch from one clip to the other. Now, if I wanna overdub, I can just press the pedal linked to the session record button, and it's ready to receive MIDI signals. For example, and oh, I just wanted to add something more on the second part. I can do that. And that's it. Now, the only moment I have to use the mouse is, for example, to quantize all those notes. Ctrl A, Ctrl U, and now they're quantized. If I want to move to the drums, I can just press the button on the control surface, move to the drums, and record some drums. If you're late on pressing the button, this happens, so you have to time right your button. And that's it. Now I can overdub. And that's it. Now, for example, I can move to another channel, the bass, and I can record the bass. And if I want, I can record a second bass line to use, for example, in a section B of my song. I can move from section A to section B. Section A. Section B. And if I deselect the track, for example, I'm in my second track, I can stop all the clips in that track by selecting an empty slot, which is really handy. Let me get back to section A. And let me switch to the very 80s synth. That's a chord. Oh yeah. And now, for example, I can launch the second bass line and record anew. I can also stop all by pressing a button. And if you press the buttons on the right, you launch all the clips in that row. Now you can see how good it is. Oh yeah! Now I'm gonna show you in detail my setup, because there are some further tricks I could tell you in order to make your life even easier and your loop much more professional. For example, one thing you can do is to link the sustain pedal to any function inside Ableton. If you don't use your sustain pedal, you can use that to launch or stop a clip, or to put an effect on or off. In my case, you can see my sustain pedal is specifically linked to slot 2 of the percussions. And this is because I usually like to do drops inside my sessions where there is nothing except some really light percussions and me playing my EWI. For example, if I'm here and you press stop all button, you stop all buttons. So let me play again. But if you press stop all and then you press the sustain pedal linked to the play button on track 2, you get all tracks to stop except track 2. Stop and sustain. Which is really handy because now I can do a solo, I can play a solo without having to go there and telling me, oh no, play that track again. So let me try again. This is the As you can see, I have also pressed the stop all button, but without using the controller. This is because when I learned about the USB pedals from China, I found out that you can order a single pedal, or you can order a set of 3 pedals all together with a single USB port, so that you can have 3 pedals. You can program to press any button of your keyboard. So that now I have 3 pedals on my right foot, which are used to press the first scene, so that when I press that button, it launches all the clips in the first scene. Then I have a second pedal, which is linked to the stop all button, because when I press that pedal, he stops all the clips. And then I have the third pedal, which I use for the session record button. That's it. So now I have 3 things I can do with my right foot without even using hands. And my sustain pedal is on the left foot, so that I can stop all clips with one foot and then tell Ableton to play only the percussions with my left foot. Let me show you again an example. So for example, now there are no clips playing, so I can press the pedal for scene 1. Stop all, and maybe again scene 1. Stop and sustain. That's it. This is really handy because now you can play a B section of your song and then you can move back to the A section without having to physically go there to the keys, or without having to stop everything and then play one by one the clips of the scene 1. This is something you can't do on a regular looper, because usually loopers are mono-channel. They have one channel, you have to record an overdub on the same channel. You cannot record a B section. You have to, you should have a second track to doing a B section, and even then you don't have percussion on that. The only looper that lets you do that is a RC505, but we don't have RC505. We are playing inside Ableton. And you see, we have already solved the issue by using a USB pedal bought from China. Let me show you again how it works switching from A to B. This is A. Okay, let me switch to section B. I can play on there. Scene 1. You see, drums were still playing between the 2 sections, but I just switched the clips in the bass line and the synths. This way I got a section B. And then when I wanted to go back to section A, I just have to press again scene 1, so that all clips of scene 1 started playing, and stopped all the clips that were playing in scene 2. Now, another thing you can do with your controller is MIDI learning some of the effects to the knobs you have on the right side. I'm gonna show you a thing. There is a track which is called Premaster. I've created it and I have routed audio coming from some of the instruments in this track. Premaster is just a way to apply effects on some instruments so that the instruments that go directly to the master are not affected by these effects. Instruments that route audio to the premaster are indeed affected by everything I do on this channel. Let me show you in practice. Let me launch again the first scene. So, all these instruments go to the premaster. So, for example, I can move my knob to use a high pass filter. Or a low pass filter. Or a beat repeater. And if an instrument is not routed to premaster, any effects don't apply to that. Routing some of the instruments to the effects instead of to the masters, and it's not useful only for playing solos. It's useful also for layering instruments and deciding which ones have to disappear under an effect and which ones are still in front of your song. For example, this track is a pad I use for really soft effects. Okay, let me record this. And that's it. Next one. So, if I play all the clips, this is just a background. But this clip is not routed to the premaster, so at one point, if you use a low-pass filter, other tracks disappear, and then they come back the moment I turn the knob. This sums up nearly all the basics you need in order to start live looping properly inside Ableton using your virtual instruments. The best thing I can do right now is playing a song from scratch in front of you by showing you my session view inside Ableton and using subtitles to explain what I'm doing off screen, for example on the Ableton controller or below the table where my foot switch are. If you liked this video, feel free to put a like, subscribe to the channel, and share with your fellow musicians. And if you have any doubt or any suggestion, for example, technique we haven't covered or something I explained badly, because I'm a bad teacher, guys, feel free to write below in the comment section. Thank you very much and enjoy the next song.